The annual Ramirez family reunion was in full swing at my parents' cliffside villa in Malibu, the driveway glittering with Lamborghinis, Porsches, and Maseratis. I pulled up in my faded 2010 Honda Civic, sliding it neatly between my brother Adrian's custom Aston Martin and my sister Bianca's gleaming Rolls-Royce. "Well, look who finally showed up," Adrian called as I stepped into the soaring, glass-walled foyer. "Still driving that antique, Elena?" Bianca's champagne flute sparkled in her manicured hand. I smoothed the skirt of my simple navy dress, bought on clearance, deliberately understated. "It gets me where I need to go." "You know," Bianca continued smirking, "Diego's dealership could set you up with something more appropriate for a Ramirez, if you could handle the payments." Their laughter rang through the room. Poor Elena, the 32-year-old family misfit who'd refused a cushy role in Ramirez Global Holdings to start her own biotech firm. For years, they'd mocked my thrift store wardrobe and budget car, assuming I'd failed. They never asked how my company was doing. "Elena, darling," my mother swooped in, kissing the air near my cheeks. "We were just discussing the family's quarterly gains." "Adrian's branch posted record profits," my father boomed, clinking his glass. "That's wonderful," I replied, glancing at my watch. "Perfect timing." "It must be tough," Adrian said, savoring every word, "watching us succeed, while you're still—" "What? Building that little startup?" "You know, querida," my father added, swirling his scotch, "the offer to join the family business still stands. No shame in admitting you need help." I checked my phone. A single text lit the screen. "Acquisition complete. Arrival in 3 minutes." "Actually," I said, slipping my phone away, "I do have news about my company." "Finally selling whatever that lab project is?" Bianca smirked. "Not exactly." I strolled to the wall of glass overlooking the Pacific. "Today, I made a rather large acquisition." Adrian chuckled. "What could you possibly buy?" The distant thump of helicopter blades cut through the music. "That would be my ride," I said, calmly. "And about that acquisition," I turned to my father. "Congratulations on selling Ramirez Global Holdings. The board approved my offer an hour ago." Gasps erupted as my helicopter, painted with my company's logo, descended over the terrace. My mother's glass slipped from her hand, shattering on marble. Adrian's face turned crimson. "This is impossible," he stammered. "Not impossible," I said, smiling. "Just business. Ramirez Global Holdings is worth billions. You can't possibly—" $8,700,000,000, 0 cents to be exact, I interrupted, holding up my phone with the confirmation email glowing on the screen. "Though," I added, "I got it for $7,200,000,000, 0 cents. The board was eager to sell after seeing my company's latest breakthroughs." Bianca clutched our father's arm. "Dad, what is she talking about?" His face had gone pale, his gaze locked on the logo painted on the helicopter's tail. "Apex Nova," he whispered. "Your Apex Nova?" The name rippled through the crowd. The mysterious biotech company that had upended medical research, the corporation valued at $50 billion, 0 cents, that had kept its CEO's identity a secret. Until now. "Surprised?" I asked as the helicopter touched down on the terrace. "All those years you thought I was scraping by. I was pouring every cent into R&D, building something bigger than Ramirez Global could ever dream of." My mother stirred from her faint, helped up by startled guests. "Elena, what have you done?" "What you all swore I couldn't," I replied evenly. "Remember when you called my vision unrealistic? When Adrian said biotech was a money pit? When Dad refused to let me run the research division because I lacked experience?" The room was silent now, every eye flicking between me and the sleek black aircraft. "That's Harrison Lee," someone whispered, recognizing the man stepping out of the cabin. "The Silicon Valley investor?" another asked. "Partner," I corrected. "He believed in my vision when my own family wouldn't," along with the scientists and engineers who saw what Ramirez Global never did, the future. As Adrian strode forward, gripping my arm, You betrayed us, buying our company behind our backs. No, I cut in, pulling away. I beat you at your own game, fair and square. The same way you said I never could. Our father looked suddenly older. Why didn't you tell us? All this time. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly, or would you have tried to take control, like you've done with every opportunity anyone here ever had? Harrison stepped inside, tablet in hand. Elena, the press is waiting. They want your statement. Tell them the truth, I said, my voice carrying through the stunned crowd. Tell them Apex Nova's CEO just bought her family's empire. Tell them the Ramirez girl they said would never succeed is now their boss. Bianca collapsed into a chair. But all those times you mocked my Civic, I said, my voice light but steady. I could have bought a fleet of Lamborghinis, I smiled, but I had better things to do with my money, like building the most advanced biotech company in the world. My mother stepped forward, eyes glassy. Sweetheart, we never meant to. To what? I cut in. Doubt me? Dismiss me? Push me aside for Adrian and Bianca? I glanced at my watch. The press conference starts in an hour. I need to go. Adrian gestured at my simple navy dress with a smirk. You're going in that? I walked toward the helicopter, then turned back. No, dear brother. I nodded to Harrison, who handed me a garment bag. Inside was a custom-tailored power suit, worth more than Adrian's Aston Martin. Oh, and that rust bucket in the driveway, I added. Keep it, as a reminder of how badly you all misjudged me. The helicopter's blades roared to life as Harrison helped me aboard. Through the tinted glass, I watched their stunned faces. My family's perfectly curated world suddenly tilted by the sister they'd underestimated. One more thing, I called out over the noise. Adrian, Bianca, check your emails. The board restructuring starts tomorrow. Hope you're ready to work for your little sister. As we lifted off, Harrison handed me the final acquisition documents. Congratulations, CEO Ramirez. Or should I say, boss? I smiled, watching the villa shrink below. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's arriving in a helicopter when they think you can't afford a car. The press conference was a media storm. Every major network carried the story. Apex Nova founder revealed, Elena Ramirez acquires Ramirez Global in $7,200,000,000 deal. I stood at the podium in my power suit, finally stepping into the spotlight I'd avoided for years. Questions flew from all sides. As Ramirez, why keep your identity secret? Was this acquisition personal or purely strategic? How does your family feel about working for you now? Let me be clear, I told the packed room. Apex Nova's acquisition of Ramirez Global isn't about family drama. It's about innovation. While they focused on outdated models, we were rewriting the future of medicine. Behind me, screens lit up with images of our breakthroughs, technologies that had built my fortune and changed the industry forever. Elena! My father's voice boomed from the back, still in his party clothes. This is our legacy you're playing with. The cameras swung toward him, flashbulbs exploding. If you want to see what happened when my father stepped up to that microphone and why it changed everything, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. They couldn't have scripted better drama. Your legacy? I said into the microphone, my voice carrying across the packed press room. Or your control. With a click, the screens behind me shifted to a graph showing Ramirez Global's declining market share. Under your leadership, our family company fell behind. While you were busy grooming Adrian to take over, I was building the future. Harrison stepped forward, handing me the next set of charts. In the past 3 years, Ramirez Global has lost 40% of its market value, he said. Meanwhile, Apex Nova's valuation has grown tenfold. Because you stole our research, Adrian barked, appearing beside our father. I laughed, the sound echoing through the microphones. Stole? Every patent, every innovation, every breakthrough. Original Apex Nova technology. The same technology you rejected when I presented it to the board 5 years ago. Gasps rippled through the room as I pulled up the minutes from that very meeting. Remember, Adrian? when you said biotech disruption was, and I quote, a money pit? Or when Dad said I was too inexperienced to lead the research division? Bianca appeared next, her designer dress wrinkled from rushing in. Alina, please, we can talk about this privately. Like we talked about my ideas privately, I said, my tone sharpening. Or like when you privately convinced Dad to pass me over for leadership 3 times? I turned back to the reporters. Here's something interesting. The screen's filled with internal emails, correspondence between my siblings and father, systematically working to keep me out of any position of influence. While my family was plotting to keep me from any real power at Ramirez Global, I was building something they couldn't control. I nodded to Harrison. He unveiled our latest biotech processor, a palm-sized chip gleaming under the lights. This single module processes genomic data faster than every Ramirez Global server combined. Dad stepped forward, his face a storm. You'll destroy everything we built. No, Dad, I said calmly. I'm saving it. Apex Nova isn't just acquiring Ramirez Global. We're transforming it. Those who can adapt will stay. Those who can't, I met his eyes, will be thanked for their service. Flashes exploded around us. Starting tomorrow, Ramirez Global will be rebranded as Apex Ramirez, a subsidiary of Apex Nova. The new board of directors, leaders in biotech, AI, and quantum analytics, has already been appointed. You can't do this, Adrian shouted. I smiled. Adrian, I can, and I already did. I clicked to the final slide. Apex Ramirez, new company structure. The diagram gleaming under the press room lights. As for the Ramirez family's involvement, I paused, letting the suspense hang in the air. Dad, Adrian, Bianca, you're welcome to stay on. I let the silence breathe before finishing. In entry-level positions, it's time you learned how real innovation works. My mother burst into the room, tears streaking her face. Alina Marisol, please, we're family. Yes, I said evenly, which is why I'm giving you all jobs instead of golden parachutes. Consider it my way of finally teaching you the real family business. Harrison stepped forward with another tablet. Markets are responding. Apex Nova stock is already up 15% since the announcement. I smiled faintly, remembering my old Honda Civic and the years I'd spent pretending to scrape by. Speaking of stock, I said, turning to my family, I should mention one more thing. Remember all those times you teased me about being poor? About not affording a decent car? They nodded mutely. I own 70% of Apex Nova's shares. As of today's close, that puts my net worth at roughly $35 billion. Gasps filled the room. Which means, I added, I could buy and sell Ramirez Global 10 times over, with cash. The reporters erupted, but I only watched 4 faces, finally registering just how deeply they'd misjudged their struggling little Elena. Now, I concluded, who's ready to learn how real business is done? Your orientation starts tomorrow. Don't be late, your little sister runs a tight ship. The next morning, the Ramirez family arrived at Apex Nova Tower, a 70-story glass spire that made the old Ramirez Global headquarters look like a strip mall office. They stood in the marble lobby, still stunned by the last 24 hours. Good morning, Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez? Miss Ramirez? The security guard said politely. Your visitor badges are ready. Please wait for your escort. Visitor badges? Adrian sputtered. Do you know who we are? Of course, the guard replied. You're the CEO's family, here for new employee orientation. From my penthouse office, the one they swore I'd never earn, I watched the feed with Harrison beside me. The market's loving this, he said. Stocks up another 20%. Your rags to riches story is trending worldwide. I straightened my custom Armani suit. How's Dad handling the reorganization? It's not well. He's been calling board members all night trying to block the merger. I smiled. Let's go welcome our newest hires. Nobody was taking my father's calls. The elevator ride from my penthouse office to the lobby felt like a victory lap. 5 years of secrecy, of letting them believe I was barely scraping by, had all led to this moment. When the doors slid open, my family stood huddled together, looking small against the vast, ultra-modern space of Apex Nova Tower. "Welcome to Apex Nova," I said, striding toward them. Or should I say, your new workplace? "This is ridiculous," Bianca protested. "We have decades of experience running Ramirez Global." "Running it into the ground," I corrected, tapping the control panel of the lobby's massive digital wall. The screen lit up with charts showing years of plummeting performance. "Your experience cost shareholders billions while you prioritized keeping power in the family instead of innovating." My mother stepped forward, voice softening. "Mija, we're proud of what you've built, but surely there's a compromise." "Like the compromises you offered me?" I asked, leading them toward the executive elevator. My biometric scan unlocked the doors. "Let me show you something." The doors opened to reveal a gallery-like space, an exhibition of Apex Nova's greatest achievements. "While you were laughing at my so-called failed startup," I said, "I was revolutionizing biotechnology. Every patent, every breakthrough, every innovation that made this company worth $50 billion came from the daughter you dismissed." "But the secrecy," my father finally spoke. "Why hide who you were?" "Because you would have tried to take control, just like you're trying now." I flicked my wrist, and his midnight calls to board members appeared on a nearby display. Adrian stiffened. "You monitor our calls?" "I monitor everything," I replied. "How do you think I stayed ahead of you all these years?" I led them into a glass-walled conference room where Harrison waited, orientation packets neatly stacked. "Now, about your new position." "You can't seriously expect us to start at the bottom," Bianca interrupted. "Adrian, Bianca." "I can, and I will." I clicked to slides showing their performance metrics. "Adrian, your division lost $300 million, 0 cents on failed projects. Bianca, your marketing strategies were outdated half a decade ago. And Dad?" I met his gaze. "You called biotech science fiction when I proposed it." "We made mistakes," Dad admitted. "But we're still Ramirez's." "Yes," I said, "which is exactly why you'll earn your positions this time." I handed each of them an employee handbook. "Welcome to Apex Nova's Advanced Innovation Training Program, 6 months, starting with basic biotech principles." 6 months? Adrian's face paled. "Of training," I said evenly. "Consider it a crash course in humility, the same humility you never showed me." I pulled up the new organizational chart. "You'll be reporting to people half your age, people who actually understand modern biotechnology. You'll learn what real innovation looks like." "And if we refuse," my father challenged, "then you can watch from the sidelines as I transform Ramirez Global into something you never had the vision to build." I smiled. "Your choice." My mother sank into a chair, finally grasping the scale of what had happened. All those years living in that small loft, driving that old Civic. "I was investing every cent into research and development," I said, gesturing to the empire around us. "While you were showing off luxury cars and vacation homes, I was creating the future." Harrison entered, holding a stack of papers. "The press is requesting a family photo. They're calling you the Ramirez dynasty's new queen." I looked at my family. "What do you say? Ready to show the world what it looks like when the underestimated daughter becomes the boss?" They exchanged glances, then looked at the orientation packets, then at the towering innovation hub I'd built while they weren't paying attention. "Oh, condition," my father said quietly. "We want to understand, really understand what you've built here." "That's all I ever wanted," I replied. "For you to see what I could do if given the chance." I turned to Harrison. "Schedule them for the Advanced Biotech Analytics course. Let's see if the Ramirezes can learn some new tricks." As they filed out to begin orientation, I caught my reflection in the glass. Elena Marisol Ramirez, once the struggling sister who bought her family's company with the fortune they never knew she had. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving them wrong, it's teaching them exactly why they were wrong. "Oh, and Adrian," I called after them, "about that Aston Martin in Dad's driveway? Move it. My helicopter needs the space." If you've been underestimated, doubted, or pushed aside, you know exactly how it feels to stand where I'm standing now. Tell me in the comments, what would you say to the people who dismissed you? And if you believe in building quietly until you're unstoppable, hit subscribe so we can share more victories. Remember, sometimes the best answer isn't revenge, it's proving them wrong with undeniable success.